Welcome to a new Team CGC 9.8 video. So today I'm really excited to show everyone my newest eBay purchase, my newest CGC 9.8 comic book. Because this kind of caught me on, it surprised me when I saw the cover just by how much I really loved it. Because I'm a huge Batman 423 fan, like one of my favorite Todd McFarlane covers, big Batman fan, so it's just kind of the sweet spot in comics for me. And I got one here, I got another one off camera here in the 9.8. I have 5 in the raw as well. Most kind of very fine, like just kind of ranging conditions. But one of my favorite Todd McFarlane books. So this comic, as it says in the title, it's a CGC 9.8 White Pages comic. It's a modern homage variant of Batman 423. Yeah, so Batman 423 cover homage, where most Todd McFarlane homages are, the Amazing Spider-Man 300. Even Incredible Hulk 340, I think, is more commonly homaged, and even Amazing Spider-Man 316 more commonly homaged, I would think, than a Batman 423. So there's not too many of them. This artist just nailed this one, though. So I'll get out of the package here and show everyone. Pretty decent price, although a modern book, so maybe paying up a little bit for this one. We'll get into some of the details on the price. But yeah, newest addition to the collection, fits right in. It's a Batman Who Laughs, The Grim Knight #1, and the Batman 423 cover homage by Philip Tan. And it's called the KRS Comics Edition A, is what it is the title here, and then that's what you could look on the CGC census and check it out. But have a look at that, though. Just, I got my other one here. The classic Batman 423 here, and this Philip Tan Batman 423 cover homage. The moon's a little bit bigger, I think, and there's some clouds, sort of, which I think looks really cool. And then he's, like, armed out. He's just loaded. He's got huge guns in each hand and Harley Quinn instead of kind of the girl. And you can kind of see his chest more. Like, he's got a more prominent kind of sort of tough stance, which I kind of like. So, and obviously his version of the sort of McFarlane signature. Yeah, so just really kind of stayed true to the original, but added some cool details that I was just really into. So look on the census, as we said, you can check it out. It's that KRS Comics Edition A is the name of this variant. There's 26 CGC 9.8s of this one in the blue label. There's only 27 ever graded in blue label. The other ones are signature series. So it's really all of them are pretty much 9.8s. So because of that, the 9.8 ratio is like 96%. Because most of them are CGC 9.8. Sorry, something a little on the comic there. Price-wise, for this book, I paid in a buy it now, so it wasn't the best offer or anything. A buy it now, it was $79.99. So I think $80 for a book like this is pretty much maybe a pretty paying up price for the book. A new comic book that's not, because yeah, this one was just coming out last year in May. So for a new comic book, that's not really a big key issue or anything like that. You would expect to sort of pay, I don't know, maybe $50 to $60 area. So maybe you get this book for that price if you're really patient in an auction, because yeah, only 26 of them out there. But yes, the artist's name is Philip Tan. And he has a couple other McFarlane homages. Apparently he's a big McFarlane fan. A couple other McFarlane homages worth checking out. Yeah, Philip Tan is an artist to keep an eye on. I've personally never read this Batman Beyond the Grim Knight, but, usually when I get a book, I'll probably want to try it again online here in the next couple of days and read it. Because it's a one-off, too, which is kind of cool. So you just get a cool one-off story by Scott Snyder and James Tynion, too, which are, like, two really big modern writers that everyone really likes. So Batman Who Laughs, The Grim Knight #1 for $80. I thought because I love Batman 423 so much. And it's worth noting, like, the, Spawn 230, I think it is, or 231, is the Batman 423 cover homage in the Spawn run that McFarlane did. And that book in the CGC 9.8 goes for, like, $230, $250 I've seen in an auction, even for that one, in a blue label. So to get a really nice, obviously Todd didn't do this one, but a really cool take on Batman 423. There not being too many Batman 423 cover homages. I just thought it was kind of worth the $80. Yeah, one thing to say, because I actually do want to get into 2 other CGC 9.8s that are completely related to this book that are really great investment grade books. I'll look on the census really quick. But for this book, there is a slight scratch here actually on the case, and it's sort of right below the 9.8. I would say about a ½ inch little scratch that I noticed, and I didn't notice in the pictures. But then when I looked on eBay after I noticed it in person, you can just notice it in the pictures. So, you know, I like to try to keep the cases in the best shape possible, but this one's kind of barely noticeable. It doesn't bug me that much, to be honest, but not completely crisp, like, you know, perfect order, I guess. That was the one thing that was like, God damn, like a little scratch on the case, but I'm sure it probably just came from CGC that way. Like, that's how some of these CGC cases are, but you never really know. Okay, so I mentioned those two other key issues, CGC 9.8, so just want to go into them really quick here. Batman 423. Let's talk about this one, the original, because I think it's a really great investment grade CGC 9.8 comic book to have, for sure. There's 95 CGC 9.8s in the blue label out there. It's only one of 95 in the world. I got 2 of them, which is, yeah, it's, you know, it took me kind of a while to grab them, but so happy to have kind of 2 of 95. 14.9% is the CGC 9.8 ratio, so all graded copies, 14.9% of them are CGC 9.8s. And that's pretty low, especially for like a late 80s book. You don't see too much getting into the teens for a late 80s book. So it's pretty rare. There's not very many of them out there, and I think it's just got a lot of potential to kind of be the cover from this era of Batman to get. And yeah, it's you know, Todd McFarlane's the classic cover, so it's got this air right here. And this is kind of another error where they didn't put the yellow. Apparently that is an error too. I thought it used to just be, oh, like maybe he wanted a different shadowing, but I think McFarlane's on the record as saying no, like he wanted that to be yellow. So, yeah, and the first print here, you get the first print is either the Batman silhouette here or the UPC code. And that's the newsstand first print, because there's second and third prints, so you just, yeah, watch out for that. You don't want to, like, kind of overpay. Because, yeah, the price we'll get to, I think for this one, CGC 9.8, really nice looking one, around $450, I think. Maybe if you're lucky, about $400. Really lucky, possibly even under $400 a bit, but because there's 95 of them, most of the time you see them on eBay for like $600, like $620. So, you know, a lot of the times around $450 they tend to get gobbled up, especially if it's a really nice looking one, really nicely centered. I got really lucky with mine. Like, these were one of the first CGC 9.8s I purchased, and I didn't really get into the details too much back then, but both of these are just perfectly centered, great colors, no like obvious defects where you go, oh, that might not be a 9.8. Like, it's just, I got so lucky. But glad to have 2 of these, about $450. I think it's worth it to get a 1 in 95 collector item in the blue label, especially if you like Batman and Todd McFarlane. So the original Batman 423 is a really great investment grade 9.8 book. And the Batman Who Laughs, obviously this is the Batman Who Laughs, The Grim Knight '1. The first full appearance of the Batman Who Laughs is in Teen Titans 12. And this is cover A, I believe. There's 2 covers of the first print. This one has the Batman Who Laughs right here in the silhouette here. But first full appearance of Batman Who Laughs, I think, is like the coolest modern DC villain, pretty much, that's come out in the last little bit here. And he seems to be really growing in popularity. This book is pretty rare in the CGC 9.8 too, actually, for a modern book. There's 526 CGC 9.8s in the blue label out there, but the 9.8 ratio is 32.8%. So, you know, anywhere around 30% is pretty great for a modern book. Like, modern books sometimes are like 50, 60, 70, 80% of them are 9.8. So, yeah, 32.8%. This one is not, in general, not in very good shape, especially for high grade. So, and the prices kind of reflect that. Yeah, for CGC 9.8 one of this, and this is kind of the one that is the most expensive out of sort of the first appearances and cameos of the Batman Who Laughs too. But I think a good price for this is $300. You know, most of them tend to go over $300 still. We had someone on the team, it was Jerry on the team, that grabbed one a while ago, or maybe a month or 2 ago, for like $250. And that was like rock bottom I had mentioned, and I thought that was a really good price. And now I think, like, if you can get one for that, I think it's a great price. But even $300, if you really like the Batman Who Laughs, I think this one's worth it. Yeah, like I said, one of the modern DC villains to get. And then, you know, you're kind of, if you're a CGC 9.8 guy like me, this one looking pretty rare for a book that had just, you know, in 2017 this book came out. So a lot of books that have come out in 2017, 2016, the CGC 9.8 ratios on them are like 80%, 90%. Like, people just, but for some reason, like, that slipped through the cracks and wasn't in good shape, and people didn't really realize, I think, that it was his first full appearance. And by the time they did, and people were getting them graded, they weren't in very good shape. So, related to, yeah, this book of the Batman Who Laughs, The Grim Knight #1. So happy to have this for $80. Yeah, I think for me it was worth $80, and maybe if you want to be a little more patient, you can get it. Maybe look to get it closer around $60. And the classic books that relate to this book, I would recommend them as investment grade CGC 9.8 books. I think both of them, for their eras, just make really good sense for investment grade books. So if you like the Batman Who Laughs, or you like McFarlane and Batman, I mean, yeah, Batman 423 and Teen Titans 12. And who knows, maybe even consider this one. Maybe even all of these in the raw too, you know, whatever matches your budget. But I would, yeah, take a look at this one. I know on, you know, my camera here, I'm a bit further away. You probably can't see the details. Get online and check out this cover. Maybe you might really like it if you're a Batman fan or a Batman 423 fan. I know I did, yeah. And it was just, again, I'd never read this. So, yeah, kind of looking forward to maybe reading it, since it's just a one-shot in the next couple of days here. Batman, The Grim Knight #1. But yeah, one to consider, I think, if you're a big Batman McFarlane fan. All right, that'll be it. Just a quick unbox today. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate all the support. If you haven't already, I'd invite you to join the team and subscribe to Team CGC 9.8. Hit the bell to get all the latest notifications, and add me on Instagram and Twitter too. Yeah, I'll have all the links in the description below for that. But yeah, if you're a Batman nut or you like Batman 423 and McFarlane, this is one to consider. So yeah, thanks for all the support, and message me on Instagram. Having some great conversations on Instagram, so give me a message if you like. But thanks for watching today. I'll see you on the next one.